Hey, so today I'm going to be installing the cycle rack's rear rack on a TW200. Comes in packaging like this. I was kind of wondering how they could ship priority for something that's this large, but it comes in a pretty stout packaging, so I'll unwrap it and we'll get started. Alright, we're wrapping off. So I would say be careful when you're cutting into it because there's not really any warnings on it. It's powder coated, so it's got a pretty durable surface, but if you're really cutting into this thing with a razor blade to be able to get to it, you will be cutting the surface. Now, granted, this isn't like going on a motorcycle, and most likely you'll be strapping things to it, but you don't want to start off with any kind of deep gouges in this finish coating. It does come with some, looks like zinc-coated bolts that go onto the frame, and it's got two bolt locations that look like they bolt right here where your back rack is. That's factory on the TW200. But what we'll do next is go ahead and pull our bolts out that are down on the frame. So this fits into the frame, goes alongside your fairings there, the plastics, and then will bolt directly to the frame. So I'm going to cut away the pre-inserted bolts that come with this, and they're just taped in. So you can see where this rack is, and I was mistaken when at first I was thinking that it mounted here, but what happens is it mounts below the seat, so we're going to actually have to pull the seat off. And next, you want to use the 5mm to loosen these Allen screws where the passenger pegs, where their little bracket mounts onto the frame. Do the other side. Now these 10mm. Now with those removed, we can slide the rack right in place. You can see that it sits right above where these 10mm bolts were removed, and then right down where the footped bracket mounts onto the frame. I'm not going to tighten them down fully here. I just want to make sure that they're snug, but not torqued down just yet. And because of how difficult this one was to go on, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of a kind of a anti-seize on this thread. It seemed like it didn't want to come out the other side, and I actually had to cut it off and heat it up. So I'm putting a little bit on here just to make sure that if I do need to take this off, that I'm not going to just rip this bolt all the pieces trying to get it out, and then in turn rip up the motorcycle frame. Now I can tighten these down on the back. This goes underneath the seat. And this actually helps hold this plastic on the back part of the frame. So it's kind of a metal and plastic tab in there. I'm just going to go snug. I'm not going to torque them down just because I'd be afraid that those little thin tab nuts that are on there are going to strip out. So that's pretty good. So now it's sitting on those tabs that are on the frame and attached to the frame, and I can already tell that this thing is on there. Now, if you haven't done it, put it back on. It's got a little lip here, and it fits right up under here, under this part of the frame. There's a little bracket that's right here. See if I can get you to take a peek here. A little bracket that is right there. So it's right down here. So you'll kind of push this down, get it onto that little lip, and you'll be able to push it up. You'll feel that it kind of seats in there. You got that little suction that's on top, and then we'll get those 2 bolts that are back here bolted on, and then we'll be done. So there you have the install of the Cycle Rack's rear rack for the TW200. So far, from what I can tell, the way that it mounts directly to the frame. It's on the back portion of the frame. It's not actually on your plastics or this extender rear rack that comes with the TW200. So it's pretty stable. I can already tell just by putting my weight on it, grabbing hold of it, that it is firmly attached to the frame of the motorcycle. I've seen people strap elk quarters to this. I've seen them strap an entire antelope to this, and that's my purposes are for strictly really for hunting, and really when my wife gets on the back of this, because it is a small motorcycle, it gives her some handholds. I elected for this little D-bend or D-loop in the rear so that I can throw some things on the back that will hold it in place. But as far as weight capacity, they really don't say anything. They kind of say that it's, or I've seen people comment that it is more or less the weight capacity of the motorcycle. So if someone like me, I weigh 200 pounds, 6 foot, so this is actually a small motorcycle for me, but my 200 pounds and the weight capacity of the TW200 is 397 pounds. So I can still stick between the back end of this seat and the rack. I could probably put a good, almost another 200 pounds on here. Probably not going to do that unless I'm really in a bind, but for me getting my gear out somewhere, for strapping my bow to it, and for bringing back meat, I think it's going to be a pretty good addition to the TW200. So give it a try. It's a simple install as long as you don't have a strip nut. It might take you about 20-30 minutes to do, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's a decent price. It seems like it's good construction. It's made in Boise, shipped here to North Carolina in 2 days. So give them a try.